filing says that they've updated their investment policy to provide them with more flexibility to, are you ready for this, be able to buy Bitcoin. We have invested an aggregate $1.5 billion in Bitcoin, the company says, under this policy, and may acquire and hold digital assets from time to time or longer term. Moreover, we expect to begin accepting Bitcoin as a form of payment for our products in the near future, the company says, subject to applicable laws and initially on a limited basis. We'll see what that means, which we may or may not liquidate upon receipt. That would be similar to what PayPal is doing in terms of how it transacts with merchants. This could be another, I mean, we're watching Bitcoin move up on the back, I imagine, of this news. I don't know how quickly it's getting into the public realm right now.
I would just throw an extra point then to the discussion we were just having, which is, and we don't know this, but there's an added irresponsibility to push up a stock if you're also benefiting from it. I don't know if Dogecoin was one that Tesla bought, but there's definitely a correlation effect with the Bitcoins of this world, and I'd have to go back through all of his tweets, but maybe Musk has also tweeted to push up the price of Bitcoin in the last couple of months. But
well, he was just a few weeks ago. In fact, he had Bitcoin. He had added the symbol to his profile on Twitter and was doing a lot of things around Bitcoin that seemed to kind of push up Bitcoin at one point. That was just in the last couple of weeks. It was last week when he took the Bitcoin symbol out of his profile and then started pushing Dogecoin instead. I think the question I would also ask here is how his investors feel about this. Bitcoin has been a big performer, but it's also been an incredibly volatile holding. If you've been watching this, it's back at almost $40,000 now, but it can drop thousands of dollars in a day. Ron Barron has been a longtime investor in Tesla, and I'd wonder what he thinks about this, too. Is he okay with them having $1.5 billion?
Why do it? I mean, he could not possibly have had a better 12 months, Elon Musk. He could not possibly have dreamt to be in the position he's in today, where his company does not have any chance of going bankrupt, any chance of running out of cash. It's worth, gosh, I forget the number, 800 billion. He's worth 200 billion. Why on earth do this? Why take the risk?
But if you're Gary Gensler this morning, the nominee to run the SEC, and you're waking up and reading this news and this filing saying this took place in January 2021, that they changed their investment policy. Meantime, you're watching Elon Musk over the last 3 weeks pump Bitcoin and other digital cryptocurrencies. I think there's a question mark of what's going on here from the start, meaning if I would bet by the end of the day, there will be an inquiry of some sort. I'm not suggesting wrongdoing per se, but you're going to start to raise some questions about what was being said publicly on one end, what was being done privately, because clearly something inside Tesla, there were decisions being made inside Tesla to buy this. I think it just raises all sorts of questions. Well, you look, I could see somebody make the argument that he was tipping off the public in a good way to get ahead of this. But I could also see people argue that this is another form of market manipulation.
And this is someone who's had clashes with the SEC before and had restrictions on his tweets imposed on him before. I want to know what every single Tesla board member thinks about this. They presumably had to vote to approve this decision because the filing says that they had to change the rules to allow them to have more flexibility on their cash. All of the board members, but particularly Robin Denholm, Larry Ellison, and James Murdoch, who clearly were the people in and around the period where there were questions about corporate governance a few years ago, were added to try and add more credibility to this board and say that this just isn't Elon getting to do whatever he wants.
Who just called in to the news line. Want to get him into this conversation. He's obviously followed Tesla for quite some time, plus crypto. Dan, you look at this move. What's your initial reaction?
The initial reaction is this is Tesla and Musk diving into the deep end of the pool on crypto. And it's something that's been rumored for a while. And ultimately now this is really them putting substance behind his view. I think it's something the street will have a differing view of. But ultimately, we've seen it with MicroStrategy. This is definitely going to be viewed as a positive for the stock.
positive for the stock of Tesla, and then of course positive for the value of Bitcoin. You're looking at that move literally as we've been speaking just in the last couple of minutes here.
Yeah, I mean, this is a major solidifying credibility for Bitcoin, especially in terms of when you have a stalwart like Musk making this move. And it's significant. It's going to have a ripple effect, really across other corporations with Musk making this move. And it's something that's, I think it's a seminal moment for companies as they sort of look toward this area.
But Dan, how concerned, though, are you about the filing relative to the comments that Musk has been making online over the past several weeks?
Well, that continues to be a slippery slope, and we've seen it before with Musk and Twitter. That's not been a friend in terms of issues like this, and it's definitely raises, I think, probably some questions, and that's going to be something that they're going to, have to focus on. I think for investors, it continues to just be another variable in the Tesla story, but no doubt in this environment, clearly there's going to be a whole lot of momentum in terms of Bitcoin on Tesla. It almost creates a perfect storm to some extent, especially in this environment that we have.
Why? I mean, why doesn't this, rather than build momentum, why doesn't it show that it's the top? I mean, just to pivot the question a little bit, Dan, you're an analyst of tech companies, you're an analyst of auto companies. Tesla is meant to make cars, and it's clearly a tech company more broadly and develop technology. Should it be trading with its cash once it generates cash from its two core business areas?
Well, again, to that point, it's a great question. I mean, we think fundamentally is continue how you'd have to value it on the EV prospects. It's going to be something that investors, when you look at this, it will get that sort of added multiple. But I think for right now, that's going to continue to sort of make the emotional bull-bear story more in Tesla if they start to get that multiple and it starts to run from there. And this is going to be something that we're going to continue to contend with. We've seen it with MicroStrategy, now Tesla. It's definitely going to have a major ripple effect for Tesla in terms of what could be the valuation over the coming weeks and months.